My name is Jesse Whittington. I'm a wildlife ecologist in Banff National Park. I've been tracking wildlife in the Canadian Rockies for over 30 years and here to tell a story about the success of these wildlife crossing structures. Banff National Park is this incredible wilderness area that has awe-inspiring rugged mountains and also these productive valley bottoms, and that's where we live. That's where grizzly bears, wolves, and a lot of animals spend most of their time. It's really important that we maintain connectivity both within Banff National Park, within animals' home ranges, but then for animals to be able to disperse and travel up and down the Canadian Rockies. Starting in the 1980s and continuing to the 1990s, Banff National Park was one of the first places in North America to build underpasses and then overpasses across our busy roads. And it's really one of our biggest conservation success stories. We have 48 overpasses and underpasses, and we have over 12,000 crossings a year on average by wildlife through these crossing structures. Incredible. Grizzly bears cross these wildlife crossing structures on average about 260 times a year. So any grizzly bears that grow up in the Bow Valley are learning how to use these crossing structures, and any dispersing animal coming through the Canadian Rockies and encounters these overpasses and underpasses, they're going to smell and see where other animals have traveled and are more likely to use them. Over the last, say, 30 years, we've reduced carnivore mortalities by over 80% and ungulate mortalities by over 96%. So they've worked really, really well. You think something like that?